What's up guys, this is Nathan and I'm Reviewer Guy, and we're continuing year-end list season with my top 50 best songs of the year. From 2013 to 2018, I posted a list of my top 50 rock songs of the year on another channel of mine, Mr. Poison B, where I mainly only listed singles that were released during the year. I grew tired of that format, and with the revival of this channel in 2019, I felt like it was time for a change. So I'm ranking my favorite songs of the year regardless of genre, and I consider deep cuts as well as singles. Also, if a song was released as a single last year, or maybe even earlier, it is eligible for this list as long as A, it was on an album or EP that came out this year, and B, it didn't appear on a previous year-end list of mine. And finally, in previous years, I had a limit of no more than 3 songs per artist making the list proper, but I feel like that excluded too many artists, so I only put 1 song per artist on this list, not counting features. Now of course these are just my choices, so if you maybe don't like a particular song on this list, that's perfectly fine. Now let's get into my picks for the top 50 best songs of 2019. It was an unexpected tragedy when Dolores O'Riordan passed in January of 2018, but enough material had already been recorded for one last Cranberries album, and Lost is probably the most haunting track on the album. The fading in of the instrumentals and the overall progression of the track creates such a chilling atmosphere, and adding Dolores' vocals on top of that just completes it for me. Rest in peace, Dolores, and thank you for one last gem.
Come a little closer to the sky. It's better than wondering why.
The Glorious Sons are no strangers when it comes to making energetic songs. Closer to the Sky is full of spirit, from the lighter verses to the explosive chorus that you can easily sing along with. This is another winner from the band without a doubt. Gates of Paradise is the closing track off the latest While She Sleeps record, and it closes out the album with a bang. This song is just one build-up after another. There's a great amount of progression in both the intro and the outro, and the verses and chorus in the middle of the track make the song feel like one great big sandwich. Or if you have a sweet tooth, an Oreo. I absolutely love the riffs on this song. They have a dirty, grungy sound and groove to them, and that offers the vocals and other instrumental portions of the song great support, as well as the also grungy and shoegaze-leaning vocals that have become a staple in Teenage Wrist's brief run thus far. If you're into that 90s alternative and shoegaze sound, definitely seek out not only this song, but the band in general. To me, this sounds like AJR done right. I have heard people say that AJR's music was like a bad John Bellion impression before, so I guess that's why this comparison came to mind. However, this is technically an Millennium song, and while I didn't love his album from this year, I keep going back to this song. I love the catchy hook and the rhythm of the verses. Take notes, AJR, this is how you make the style work. Earlier this year, Fall Out Boy, Weezer, and Green Day all released a new song around the same time, and I gravitated more toward Fall Out Boy's song out of the 3. I like the poppy, surf rock instrumentation on this track, and the hook is catchy as hell. Even Wyclef Jean's part on this track isn't half bad. Honestly, if Fall Out Boy wanted to release more material like this, I wouldn't complain. I'm not always sold on the idea of sound bites or stock audio clips being spliced into a song, especially repeatedly like they are in Cheap Queen, but I feel like it works here. The snippets sound like they're from an old TV show from the 50s or 60s. I Love Lucy came to mind, but I might be completely wrong. Either way, I like the tone it sets for the song. This is a great pop track, and I highly suggest you seek it out. I don't know how popular this choice is going to be, but then again, this song is a hit for a reason. I don't vibe with everything I've heard from Lil Nas X, but I won't deny the fact that he has some talent. This is the way to put together a catchy pop rap tune with killer hooks and catchy whistling tones over the beat. I think the song's a little too short, clocking in at just shy of 2 minutes, but then again, it just leaves you wanting more, and I think that's the point. Lacuna Coil released a surprisingly good album this year. Not to say that their past material was bad, but it has been rather lackluster over the past few years. That being said, Apocalypse was a real standout on the new album, with the calmer and haunting verses, and then the track just hits you out of nowhere with the crushing chorus. Christina and Andrea's voices mesh wonderfully in the chorus, as Christina gives the melodic delivery, and Andrea offers a more harsh style. It's a nice blend, and it makes for an awesome listen overall. I don't listen to the radio too much these days, but I'd like to thank SiriusXM Octane for introducing me to this one. This track has guitar tones and riffs reminiscent of the gent style, but it's a bit more accessible. The vocals mixed in with the instrumentals sound like gent mixed with your standard hard rock and alternative metal fare, but don't let that classification turn you off from Saul. These guys have talent. Freakazoid has a cool, chilling groove to it. I love the bass work on this song, as well as the guitar riffs in the chorus, and Brian Aubert's vocals as well, and I'm a fan of his voice anyway. There were several songs from Widow's Weeds that I was considering, but this one sticks out to me the most, and for good reason. One could argue that the lyrics on this track are immature, especially in the chorus, and I understand that point of view, but you can really feel the frustration in Johnny's delivery here. Not to mention his flow on the verses, as well as the bombastic instrumentation, to make for a rather vicious song overall. Never in a million years did I think I would enjoy this kind of pop metal fusion, but when I first heard Poppy's song X last year, I immediately fell in love with that style. She continues that type of style on Scary Mask, which features Fever 333, and what a collaboration it is. Of course, Poppy delivers the poppier sounding vocals, no pun intended, but she has some darker vocal moments as well. And then Jason Alon Butler comes in with his vicious screaming and sometimes even shrieking vocals, along with the absolutely brutal guitars and drums. We definitely need more of this kind of music, and I can't wait to hear Poppy's new album in only a couple more weeks. Social Cues has a nice funky rhythm and groove to it. It also has an extremely catchy hook and a real earworm effect to it in my opinion. The first couple times I listened to the album in full, I didn't think the title track would be even close to being on my top songs of the year list, but here we are. Don't yell at me for this, guys, but Billie Eilish is very hit or miss for me. Don't get me wrong, I loved a couple songs off of her debut album, and I was even thinking about putting one of them on this list. That is, until I heard Everything I Wanted. In my honest opinion, this is the best song she's put out so far. I love the production on here, as well as the somber and almost dream pop at times like Atmosphere. Not to mention, the lyrical content on the song is kind of crushing. If you're not aware, this song is about a dream Billie had in which she killed herself and nobody seemed to care. I'm sure that's a relatable topic for a lot of people, and it's a rough thought to have, but she conveys her message beautifully, and I have to give her props for this song. When I first reviewed I the Mask, the title track was not my favorite on the album. However, as time went on, I started to love the song more. It talks about wearing a mask, hiding your true self, and even forgetting yourself in the process, which is not new subject matter for In Flames, but it comes across well here. The song starts out with vicious screams from Anders, and I absolutely love the chorus on here. This track is definitely a grower, and who knows, I might like it even more in the future. Biffy Clyro have been releasing a lot of music this year and last year, and we're supposed to get more next year. Balance Not Symmetry comes off of the soundtrack for the movie of the same name. This song is your standard Biffy Clyro fare, but it has a lot of energy in it, which is something I've come to expect from the band. I love the guitar riffs and the drumming, and I really love the backing vocals in the chorus. I might need to check out this movie, if not just for the Biffy Clyro soundtrack. This is one of the softer songs on the new Baroness album. Not that it's a very heavy album overall, but still, this is a rather somber track. I really enjoy the dynamic the keyboard brings to this song, as well as John Dyer Baisley's vocal delivery. Gina Gleason backs him up well, and the whole song comes off as a rather beautiful tune musically, and it's something I wasn't expecting from the album. Catfish and the Bottlemen did a good thing when they put out this earworm of an indie rock jam at the beginning of the year. It has an infectious rhythm and a great catchy hook that you just want to listen to over and over again, and I've listened to this song more times this year than I can remember. This isn't the first time both Howard and Jesse were on a Killswitch Engage song together, but it has been 15 years since the first time, and until this song was released, only time that happened. The signal fire starts swinging and doesn't slow down for its entire duration. Both Jesse and Howard show their vocal talents with both cleans and growls while trading verses. Then throw in the crushing guitars and banging drums and you got yourself one killer metalcore track. When I was first putting this list together, the Trump impeachment hearing didn't happen yet, but now it seems like this song is more topical than it was earlier this year. Sum 41 go to town with this hard-hitting, politically charged track that shows off a bit of their heavier side, as does most of the album. This song has grooving guitar rhythms in the verses, a bit of a chant-along style chorus, and a killer bridge. They're not happy, and they do a great job of showing that. Barnes Courtney is a talented musician in my opinion. Sure, his songs can come off as simplistic and a little repetitive, but the man knows how to write a good hook, and that shows on 99. Not to mention that infectious beat the song has. Despite its simplistic nature, this was one I had a hard time getting tired of. The riffs and groove on this song are standard for the alternative metal sound, but baby metal make it work here. It matches the lyrical flow and vocal delivery, and I might even say it's a slightly unique take on the alternative metal genre, which is never a bad thing. While I was aware of Churches and enjoyed one or two of their songs already, I really fell in love with the group this year. It's a shame they didn't release a full-length album this year, but hey, I'll gladly take this track they made for the Death Stranding soundtrack. Lauren Mayberry's voice sounds gorgeous as always, and this track has a lot of build-up, clocking it at a little over 5 minutes. I'm also a fan of the synth work on this track. It sounds a little different than what I've previously heard from Churches, a little bleaker at times even, and I think the atmosphere they provide to the song is really cool. I wasn't familiar with the Dangerous Summer before this year, but apparently they've been around for a while and just recently got back together, and good for them. I really enjoyed the pacing on the song. The slow to mid-tempo rhythm makes for an interesting groove, and AJ Perdomo has such a unique raspy voice that I can get behind. The vocals sound great on this track. This is another one where my only complaint is that it's a little too short, but I can't fault it too much for that. I was very mixed on this song when it first came out, but it's so catchy. I like the lighter guitar riffs on the track, and while the chorus is repetitive, it doesn't hinder my enjoyment of the song. Plus, I like the addition of the choir toward the end. There's a certain vibe that I get from this song that makes me want to come back to it again and again. Puppe is an interesting track off of Rammstein's comeback album. It has a haunting and even menacing vibe to the instrumentals and the verses, and then Till's vocal delivery goes absolutely manic in the chorus. I'd have to give credit for that kind of control. And this song even managed to startle me once or twice when it came up on shuffle and I fell asleep with my headphones on, so I give them extra points for that. I don't know if I can say this is the heaviest song Slipknot have ever done, but I do think it's one of, if not the most experimental track they've ever done, and I love every second of it. It starts out softer with eerie vocals from Corey Taylor, and then all the instruments just blast you from out of nowhere. Brutal riffs, Pounding percussion, and Corey Taylor utilizing his vocal range to its full potential, Solway Firth honestly might be one of my favorite Slipknot songs of all time. And I know I'm not the only one to say that, but there's a good reason for that. This song is a true banger. I must be a sucker for earworms because there are quite a few of them on this list. Blown to Bits has a good amount built to it. The vocals sound light and poppy, as do the instruments, until the full-on jam session in the bridge. It's a very fun song to move along with, and maybe even sing along with as well if you so choose. Power pop isn't nearly as popular as it was back in the late 90s and early 2000s, but White Reaper decided to remedy that with one F. This song has it all, from the fun rhythm to the sing-along chorus to the great vocal performances, both lead and backup. The guitars and keyboard are the standout instruments to me on this song, and overall, this is one you just want to listen to on repeat. Do I think it'll spark some kind of power pop revival? Not really, but one can dream. Say what you will, but I really enjoyed this collaboration. I think Marshmello gave A Day to Remember a good amount of time to shine on this track. Not just Jeremy either, the whole band. I hope this song would have helped propel rock into the mainstream at least a little bit, but it barely cracked the Billboard Hot 100. Still, this is an EDM and pop-punk crossover that I can get behind. It has a solid hook, and I personally enjoy the beats on this track, as simple as they may be. Of course, that's just my hot take on it. I always give myself a limit of one cover song to be on the list per year, and this is only the third cover to make my list since I started doing it back in 2013. I like Meg Myers. I think she's very talented and a bit overlooked, but this cover of the Kate Bush song Running Up That Hill is Meg's highest charting song to date. That's both great and disappointing. It's great because I'm glad she's getting recognition, but it's disappointing because it's not for one of her original songs. Either way, this cover is awesome. It throws in those new wave elements that the original has and modernizes them a bit while also adding Meg's own personal touch to the delivery of the track. Personally, I prefer this version, but the original's fine too. I just vibe with this one a lot more. If you're curious, check it out, and check out some of Meg's original material too while you're at it. Maybe it's because I only started listening to King Gizzard this year, but I was so intrigued by this song the first time I heard it, and I still love jamming out to it. This is just a great boogie rock song that incorporates some interesting percussion, banjo, guitar, and harmonica parts. Plus, the two higher vocal ranges in this song are oddly pleasing to the ear. I've seen comments saying this song sounded like a nursery rhyme, and I kind of agree, but I also kind of like that about it. It's different than the kind of stuff I usually enjoy, and I mean that in general. I could see this track being an awesome live jam session, but the studio version is great as is. I'm going to have to give credit to SiriusXM once again for introducing me to this song, but Alt Nation this time. This song gives me that chill vibe of driving at night. That may be because that was when my first exposure to this song took place, but still, I like the backing vocals and the chill indie rock and maybe even the little indie pop vibe these guys have, and I like the singer's voice too. I hope to hear more from Blocks in the future.
To get everything I wanted in this lifetime, I had to put my beliefs on the front line.
I don't know if it's that guitar twang, Yellow Wolf's vocal style, the lyrical content of the song, or a combination of all three that make this enjoyable for me. The verses are a bit simplistic and the chorus is where the song picks up, but I still don't think the verses are weak. I enjoy this song from beginning to end, and if you're just getting into Yellow Wolf, I think this is a good first track to check out. Who said you can't appear on both the worst and best songs of the year list? Weezer put out a lot of music in 2019, and it was a mixed bag to say the least. But goddamn, Zombie Bastards is so freaking catchy. Sure, the lyrics are kind of stupid, but not the same kind of stupid I said Piece of Cake was. This song actually has that Weezer charm to it, and it's a good sing-along jam too.
Watch me take a good thing and fuck it all up in one night. Catch me, I'm the one on the run.
On my worst songs of the year list, I said that Travis Barker's hip-hop collaborations come in varying degrees of quality, and I think this one is at the top, at least out of the ones I've heard. I'm not a big fan of Machine Gun Kelly or Youngblood, but I like their dynamic on this song. The song feels like it's supposed to be fun and serious at the same time, and it's conveyed well. These three just sound like they're having a blast on this track. Travis's drums sound good, MGK has some solid verses, and while I usually find Youngblood's vocal style obnoxious and grating, I like it here. It doesn't feel like he's going too over the top, and it works for that rap rock meets pop punk style they're going for on this song. This was a pleasant surprise overall. Back-to-back appearances from Travis Barker. This time he's where he really belongs, and that's with Blink-182. Mark Hoppus and Matt Skiba have a nice sounding harmony on this track, with Hoppus on the lower notes and Skiba on the higher ones. This could just be me, but I also found the lyrics to be a little relatable. Not all of them, of course, but the overall sentiment of the song. This is another fun track from the band that shows they still have it after all these years. I wasn't expecting this song to be this high up on the list, but I must be a sucker for catchy and slightly repetitive songs. Repetition can work, and it does on this synth-pop track. I love the vocals on here. I feel like the lower pitch does a great job of matching the synth tones on this song, and it makes for one hell of an earworm. I can only imagine the backlash he'll get for this one. You know what though, it is what it is. Sometimes we just need a simple, fun, and happy song to chill out with. We need a fun sing-along song that we can just get up and move along with. 2019 was not a good year for me, and I'm sure other people can relate to that. So a song like Good Feeling, as simple as it is, really gets the job done. Judah and the Lion managed to touch on a few different styles in their music, but Why Did You Run is just a straight up pop song, and it's another catchy one. It has a killer hook, and the beat is pretty fun. It has that bouncy vibe that I've come to expect from the band, but this is another song that I feel like I enjoy more with each listen. Wild Roses is a good showcase of Nana's vocal range. I like her softer vocals in the verses as well as her more powerful delivery in the chorus, and Ragnar supports her pretty well. The acoustic guitar, drums, and synths also help drive the song. I hate repeating myself so much, but this is another sing-along jam. I'm gonna drive that point home. Amo received a lot more hate than it deserved in my opinion. People were crying about Bring Me the Horizon becoming sellouts, but they have played around with the pop elements before. They just decided to go full throttle with it on this album, and Mother Tongue is a prime example of that. Yes, this is a cheesy love song, but I feel like they pulled it off well, and incorporated this pop style into it well. This is a song that I just can't help but love. If you don't feel the same way though, I understand why. I just feel like it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I'm a bit of a metalcore fan, not the biggest, but I like me some metalcore from time to time, and this is the best metalcore song I've heard all year. Bow Down is an absolute banger. The guitars, drums, and harsher vocals are simply brutal, and the cleans add a cool dynamic as well. It's slightly different than your average metalcore cleans, as I Prevail have a little more of a pop punk and maybe even post-hardcore edge by way of maybe A Day to Remember. But I feel like I Prevail is a band that shows their influences, but also does a good enough job of forming their own identity. Are they fully there yet? Maybe not, but this song is certainly a start. Whoever said rap and rock don't mix was wrong. I didn't think a collaboration between Post Malone, Ozzy Osbourne, and Travis Scott could be this good, but it is. Ozzy's vocals are haunting, Post shows his singing talents as well, and I even like Travis's verses. Not to mention the guitar solo toward the end, courtesy of producer Andrew Watt. I really hope we get more collaborations like this from Post Malone because this was such a cool experience. This is one of 3 songs on Strength in Numbers that has 2 parts to it and could honestly be split up into 2 separate tracks, but since it's listed as one, I'm counting it as one. The track opens with an energetic chant and beat, and then Jason Alon Butler shows his lyrical flow throughout this 7-minute long track, both in the rapping and singing departments. The first part of the song leans more toward rapping with a chant-style chorus, but then the second part incorporates more actual singing, mostly in the chorus. The rest of the band gets their chance to shine in this song as well, and even though this is a 7-minute long track, it's one that feels much shorter and one you'll want to revisit. This song just hits you right away with the blasting drums and guitar riffs. Then we get into those dreamy, airy vocals. The vocal range here is on the higher register, but in the chorus, Brett Boland manages to get even higher notes out, and they sound great. I'm also a fan of the unique time signature on this track. Everything about this song flows perfectly, much like water. That song title is starting to make a lot more sense now, isn't it? If there's one word I could use to describe this song, it would be beautiful. Light On is a beautiful indie pop song from Maggie Rogers. I love her voice on this track. It sounds so serene, and it feels like it has a caring nature to it, given the fact that this is a song about how grateful she is for all of her fans. While I'm not necessarily a fan of her music, I do see the talent and passion she has, and it comes off well in this song. Bad Flower were so close to topping my list for the 2nd year in a row, but they missed it by just that much. Promise Me feels like a journey, especially when you watch the accompanying music video. The song talks about getting older, but also wanting to stay young. Not just oneself, but their loved one as well. What I also find interesting is the fact that this song doesn't have a set chorus, it just keeps going, much like life just keeps going. Josh Catt's voice sounds great, and he even has a couple more raw moments, and the band are just jamming out, and it makes for a great song. Just remember everyone, we do have to get older, but that doesn't mean we have to grow up. Have you ever heard the right song at the right time and said to yourself, this is the one? That's exactly how I felt when I first heard Long Way Down. This is a heartfelt, emotional song that Matt Bigland wrote about his late father, and you can hear the heartbreak in his voice. After suffering big losses in my family both last year and this year, around the same time of year in fact, the song just resonated with me even more as the year went on. Lyrically, while simple and repetitive, this song does feel heavy in its content and subject matter. Instrumentally, this song is also strong. It has its more somber moments, and it kicks into full gear with a fantastic solo from Bigland. This is a great way to close the new Dinosaur Pile-Up album, and one more fun fact, according to Last.fm, this is my most listened to song of the year by quite a large margin, and even that play count isn't entirely accurate. Overall guys, I cannot stress how impactful this song was on me this year, and this is the 2nd year in a row that a song like that topped the list. Thank you Dinosaur Pile-Up for this awesome jam. Thank you guys for watching this list video. If you agree with my picks, disagree with them, or feel like I missed some songs, which I'm sure I did, feel free to leave a comment down below and stay tuned for more year-end lists in the very near future. Also be sure to check out the playlists for both my top 50 songs of 2019, as well as the Awesome Songs 2019 playlist, which features even more songs that I enjoyed this year, and that still might not cover everything. You can follow me on my social media links in the description, and check out some more videos in the gimmick on screen. I'll see you all next time.